Invisible Suit. Chapter 1. The Discovery. Ethan Carter was not your average teenager. At just 17 years old, he had already gained a reputation as the town's most gifted inventor. His room was a maze of circuits, wires, and half-finished projects, tools scattered on every surface and books piled up high on the shelves. But despite all his success, Ethan had a secret ambition. He wanted to create something revolutionary, something that would change the world forever. One rainy afternoon, while tinkering with his latest project, a complex network of sensors and fabric, Ethan made an accidental discovery. He had been working on a new kind of fabric that could react to different light frequencies. Initially, he intended to make a material that could help improve energy efficiency in clothes. But as he connected the wires to the fabric and activated the power, something extraordinary happened. The cloth seemed to shimmer for a moment and then vanished. At first, Ethan thought it was a glitch in his setup, but when he reached out and touched the fabric, it was still there. The cloth was completely invisible to the naked eye. He couldn't believe it. In that moment, he realized what he had stumbled upon. This was no ordinary fabric. It had the potential to create something far more incredible, an invisible suit. Chapter 2. The Experiment Asterisk. Ethan's mind raced with possibilities. An invisible suit, what could be more groundbreaking? But he knew he couldn't tell anyone just yet. This discovery needed time to be perfected. He carefully reconstructed the prototype, making sure the fabric would stretch and fit properly while still retaining its invisibility properties. Days turned into weeks as Ethan refined the suit. He tested the material, adjusting its sensors to make it more durable, more flexible. With each experiment, he learned more about how the fabric worked, eventually making a suit that was both functional and invisible. One evening, after months of work, Ethan stood before a full-length mirror in his garage, wearing the finished product. He held his breath as he looked at himself. The suit was completely invisible. He could see his body, but there was no trace of the fabric. He was, for all intents and purposes, invisible. He took a step back and marveled at the creation he had made. The possibilities were endless. Chapter 3. The Power of Invisibility Asterisk. Ethan couldn't wait to test out his new invention. The next day, he wore the suit to school, planning to test it in public for the first time. He was nervous but excited. As he walked through the hallways, he noticed that no one seemed to notice him. He walked right past his friends without them even acknowledging his presence. It was as if he were a ghost. At first, he found it amusing. He sneaked up behind his best friend, Sam, and tapped him on the shoulder. Sam spun around, confused, but saw nothing. Ethan burst into laughter, revealing himself to Sam, who was left wide-eyed in disbelief. "Ethan, is that you?" Sam gasped. This is amazing." For the rest of the day, Ethan explored the limits of his suit. He sneaked into the teacher's lounge, wandered through the principal's office, and even slipped into the staff meeting unnoticed. It was thrilling. He felt like he could do anything. He could go anywhere and no one would ever know. But as the day went on, something started to feel off. The thrill of invisibility wore off, and Ethan realized that he was starting to feel disconnected. He wasn't interacting with anyone. No one could see him, and he was invisible to the world around him. It was an odd feeling, one that gnawed at him, even as he reveled in the power he had. Chapter 4: The Consequences ***. As the days passed, Ethan continued to wear the suit. At first, he used it for harmless fun, pranking his friends and avoiding trouble at school. But the longer he used it, the more he realized how dangerous his invention could be. The temptation to use the suit for personal gain started to creep into his mind. He began sneaking into stores without paying, walking past security guards and taking what he wanted. The rush of getting away with something illegal excited him. One day, while out on a walk in the city, Ethan overheard a conversation between two men in a dark alley. They were talking about a major bank heist, how they planned to steal millions of dollars. Ethan's mind raced. The thought of being involved in such a heist was both thrilling and terrifying. His invention could make him unstoppable. He could help them and get away with it. No one would ever catch him. But something deep inside him told him to stop. This wasn't who he was. Yet, the more he thought about it, the more the idea seemed appealing. What could one small heist hurt? It could make him rich. He wouldn't need to work for the rest of his life. The temptation was almost too great. Chapter 5: The Breaking Point ***. That night, Ethan lay awake in bed, tossing and turning. His mind was consumed with the idea of using the suit for something bigger, something more dangerous. He could make a fortune. But he also knew it was wrong. He remembered how isolated he had felt when he first became invisible. The suit had given him power, but it had also taken something from him. It had distanced him from the people he cared about. The next day, he made a decision. He would destroy the suit. He knew that no good could come from it. He couldn't let it control him any longer. Ethan went to his garage and stood in front of the suit. The invisible fabric lay on the workbench, now just a reminder of the power he had once held. With a heavy heart, he grabbed the scissors and cut the fabric into pieces. It was over. The suit was gone. But even as he destroyed it, Ethan knew that the temptation of power would always remain. The desire for invisibility, for control, would never fully leave him. He had to learn to live with the consequences of his actions, knowing that true strength didn't come from what others couldn't see, but from what was visible in his heart. Chapter 6: Moving Forward ***. Months passed, and Ethan tried to live a normal life again. He still thought about the suit, but he knew he had made the right choice. He found new passions, things that didn't involve power or secrecy. He returned to his love for invention, but this time, he focused on creating things that would help others, not things that could change the world for his own selfish gain. One day, Ethan was walking through town when he saw a group of kids playing. They were laughing, having fun, and he felt a warmth in his chest. He realized that true happiness didn't come from being invisible or having control over others. It came from connecting with the world and the people around him. He smiled to himself, knowing that he had learned a valuable lesson, that the greatest power was not in what others couldn't see, but in what he could share with them. Epilogue ***. Years later, Ethan became a well-respected inventor. His name was known for innovations that made the world a better place, nothing like the invisible suit, but creations that were tangible, meaningful, and filled with purpose. He never spoke of the suit again, but it remained a part of him, a reminder of how one discovery could change a life, and how the pursuit of power, when unchecked, could lead to great danger. The end. Did you enjoy this story? Like the video and comment. Subscribe channel. See you the next video. Have a nice day.